Good afternoon, lace jumping. I'm John, this is many a true nerd. Welcome back to Skies of Arcadia, where last time we set out to rescue our family and friends and immediately lost our boat in an unfortunate whale attack. But that's okay, because straight afterwards we made friends with Drachma here, and he's allowing us to use his boat. I say, like, you know, a friend and allow. There may have been a bit of extortion involved, I will admit. Still, putting that aside, we've now got ourselves a party of 3 people, a functioning ship, and a Valuan passport. Everything we need to break into Valua. But before we do, I'm going to mosey back to, yes, the west, because I want to check in with Sailor's Island before we actually set sail for Valua proper. And if we, you know, happen to run into a couple of enemies en route, then all the flippin' better. Here we go, a giant pile of enemies, and better, I can't help but notice that, yes, they have rather conveniently lined themselves up perfectly for Ica. Well, this is just cooking meant to be. But yes, as I mentioned last episode, we've now got the power of the Blue Moonstone. So, before we go into Valua, I want to learn at least one basic bit of blue magic, because blue is super effective against yellow. And in Valua, there's a chance we might be fighting a whole bunch of cocking yellow. And as for the damage, oh Ica, you just have some fun with Alpha Storm. You could keep your weapon on red, by the way. I do want to learn the next red spell too. That'll be magnificent. So, Ica should, my goodness, Vise gets to go first on this occasion. Dear oh flippin' dear. There we go. Ica comes in with the ludicrous badass abilities. Gotta love Ica. And oh yeah, Ica and Alpha Storm. If the enemies happen to be lined up correctly, it's one hell of an ability. And there we go, after just a quick couple of additional fights, Ica has now learnt Weavely. So okay, just diving into another fight here, yeah, we got a couple of Maracas, and we've also got these Thorcrins here. These guys are generally not so dangerous, but they can do a move called Gather Strength. If they do that, then, yes, maybe take them out because they're about to become dangerous. Anyway, let's jump straight over to Ica, because Weavely's got a bit of an interesting thing going on, which is red magic hits everybody on the field, purple magic hits just one person, blue magic sits somewhere in between. Whoever I aim at gets hit, obviously, but there's also a bit of a radius around it that hits nearby enemies, and I'm gonna be completely honest, I cannot remember, like, precisely how far it is, so I'm gonna attack this Maraca, and we're gonna see if anything else even gets caught in the splash, because I don't know if anyone's gonna get caught or not. And as for my other 10 points, okay, I can't help but notice that last episode, poor old Drachma never got to try out his tackle ability. So we'll use that on this guy over here, and okay, somehow he got to go first.
Take that!
And there we go. Drachma just basically teleports himself into an anime tunnel and punches someone really cocking hard. And on this occasion, right, the Weavely was not close enough to get anybody else at all. So, right, the splash radius on Weavely, at least the basic spell, not great. But, like, it's pretty bloody powerful if you happen to see a whole bunch of enemies standing right next to each other. Oh, and you know what else is nice too? While we're just passing by, we just picked up Increm. Okay, just remember we've got that, we'll get to it later. Right, couple of things I want to take care of right here on Sailor's Island before we jump into, you know, Valua itself. So, number 1, you may recall we bought information about a mysterious island to the north of Sailor's Island. So just mosey over in this direction. That'll be up. That's the entrance to Valua, right there. We don't want to go there just yet. Instead, here we go. One mysterious island. Honestly, you do not need to, you know, buy the hint for this one. It's pretty bloody obvious given there's a mysterious island right here that's got nothing on it until you get close enough, then you realise it does, but there we go. Discovery number 2, the Guide Stones. Basically just an ancient signpost indicating, yes, which direction the major civilizations of the world are. Number 2, we were asked to pick up a handful of moonfish, and we have done precisely that. We got a couple on Sailor's Island, and lovely to see you again, Doc. I've got something for you. And, yes, you may recall I mentioned last episode, when he says he's going to reward you for bringing him fish, that's not really strictly the case. So what we're going to do right now is just feed the bird a fish. And every time you do, it gets a tiny bit bigger. And after that, the bird literally vomits up an item. That's the reward you get. Doc gives you cocky nothing. It's the bird that rewards you by vomiting up a thank you. And, you know, he will, on occasion, vomit up clothes, for example. You will literally wear what this bird vomits up. Because, as I say, what it gives you is really cocky goods. Tell you what, as a token of my appreciation, you can keep whatever the bird spits up, okay? Oh, Doc, how very cocky generous of you. And on this occasion, we received a Riseland crystal, and, okay, this is actually really cocky good. That's basically a revive item if you run out of hit points. That's the first one of those we've got in the entire cocky game. Like, do not sneer at what this bird vomits up. This bird delivers good stuff. Right, just toss one more lovely fish into the bird. Once again, it just gets bigger and flipping bigger. Magnificent. And here comes another reward for feeding it. And on this occasion, every single time he says the same thing, don't worry about it, we got ourselves a warrior's rune. No, seriously, the stuff this bird gives you is ridiculous. And it's not just items either. Just on occasion, you might learn something about, you know, the Doctor or young Maria here. And look how big your bird has grown. And it's all thanks to this young man and his friends. And on this occasion, Maria sort of said thank you, which for her is actually kind of a big deal. So, yes indeed, as we help the bird, we'll also be helping Maria come out of her shell a bit. I don't know how many years it's been since I've last heard Maria's voice. And you mean to tell me your own daughter hasn't spoken to you in years? And in fact, no. Back up there. I'm still single. I don't even have a wife, let alone a kid. Maria's not my kid. She lost her family a few years back. I may not look the part now, but at one point in my life, I was a Valuan soldier. I worked for Mendoza, a former admiral of the Valuan Armada, as a doctor aboard his flagship. And Maria is his daughter, the daughter of a Valuan admiral. However, when she was still very young, she lost her father and the rest of her family too in a horrible accident. It was a horrifying experience for such a small child to go through. Since then, she hasn't shown a hint of emotion or spoken a single word. And I don't blame her either. The poor kid had to watch her family's ship, with all of her family still aboard, sink below the clouds. So I took her under my wing and retired from the military. And that's when I became a free ship doctor. And yes indeed, naturally, as you bring more and more fish back to Maria, you're going to get not just more items, but also more and more story. Not just about Doc and Maria, but about the Valuan Empire too. Still, that's all we can do for now. And on top of that warrior's rune is a really rather nice accessory. So yes, right now Visor's got this scale set giving him attack plus 10. The warrior's rune is attack plus 10, and defense plus 10, and dodge 2, and chance to hit up by 20. So basically, yeah, we're going over to that immediately. And finally nip on over to a Sailor's Island for just a second, because there is literally free money waiting for me right here in the Sailors Guild. Because the Sailors Guild doesn't just gather information about discoveries, they're also where bounties are stored. Baltor was on that list, so as a result, I get the money. Admittedly, Baltor's not, like, dead or anything, so not 100% sure I should be being paid the bounty, but okay, apparently just, you know, humiliating him a bit, that's enough for the bounty. So there we go, 1,000 golds. And also 40 for the guide stones. Okay, that's not so impressive to be honest, but yes indeed. Because I literally bought information about the guide stones from this guy, yeah, he's not that impressed. And though I could probably very happily spend all of that money right now, I'm going to resist, because we're about to go to Valua, and in Valua they do have, you know, their own shops and whatnot. So what I'm going to do instead is, mosey on over to the hotel and get my party into ship shape, ready for our adventure. Because honestly, 60 gold for a complete party heal, cocking bargain. So okay, we are now rested, we've got some new upgrades, and on top of that, we've got money to spend in the Valuan marketplace. So with that, let's be on our way. And if you don't know the way, well, you can simply use, you know, the in-universe assets to help you navigate. The guide stones we just found will point you towards the Imperial City. It's to the north of here, so that's absolutely fine. Just go north, mosey in this sort of a direction, and in no time whatsoever, gonna be honest, game, that's really more north or west, but yes indeed, there is a reason why it's a bit difficult to infiltrate this nation. Number one, you've got the patrol boat, so show me your entry passport, and here you go, good sir, no trouble whatsoever. Very well, you may proceed. But even if you were able to, you know, just blast your way past the border or whatever, yes indeed, that's not the only thing standing in your way. Here we go, speak of the devil. That there is the only entrance into the city of Valua, the Grand Fortress. Valua is surrounded by impassable mountains, so that's the only way in or out. I can't believe they actually built something that huge. So yes indeed, there's only one way in, a gigantic gateway that they can open or close at will. Beyond that, there's literally no way to access the city. So during the Valuan Admirals War, over 100 Admiral warships bombarded this fortress for days. However, all the shells were repelled by these walls. The fortress may be the strongest structure of the New World. And here we go, speak of the devil, it starts to move. Rotating around so that, yes, ships have got access, but on top of that, there's a bit of a nasty surprise on the rear as well. A huge amount of cocking cannons. The door of the fortress opens only once a day to allow ships to pass through. The backside of that wall is completely lined with cannons. It was those cannons that nearly wiped out the entire Nazra fleet. Defense and defense all in one. It's an invincible fortress. And that is where they're holding Captain Dine and Fina. So, yes indeed, we may be able to get in, but if anything goes wrong, getting out certainly has a few question marks about it. And according to Drachma, no prisoner has ever escaped the fortress. Though I have heard there is one way out. So okay, it might be possible then. And yes indeed, after they execute the prisoners, their corpses are thrown off the islands. Okay, not really what we were looking for there, Drachma, but oh, Drachma's a star, I love him. Well, step one, I guess we've just got to mosey on inside, because yes indeed, no one's ever escaped, because I've never tried. I love a challenge. I do love Vise. Vise is great, so right, in we go, but yes indeed. At some point once we're inside, the door might shut behind us. And speak of the devil, so when they say it's open only once a day, it's only very briefly. So until Valua chooses to open that door again, we are now stuck in the Imperial City. Meanwhile, elsewhere in Valua, Lord Gaussian, your admirals have assembled as you commanded. Excellent. And here we go. Some of these faces we might recognise, some of them not so much. So say hello to the complete senior staff of the Valuan Navy. Admirals of the Valuan Armada, let me first offer my gratitude to each of you for assembling at such short notice. Let it be known that we have successfully captured a citizen of the Silver Civilization, as requested by Empress Theodora. So we finally captured one. Who accomplished this? And of course, it was I who found her first. Oh, Alfonso. I feel like you're, maybe exaggerating a bit there, but yes indeed. This is just our introduction to some of the other admirals we're going to be facing over the course of this game, and I love Alfonso. Alfonso's just the best. I crippled her ship and captured her, but I was betrayed by my own vice captain, and she was taken from me. And I'm sure Empress Theodora is pleased she's recovered, according at least to 2nd Admiral Gregorio. Now, if we can just persuade her to give us the information we need, it would be worth all the effort we spent tracking her down. Moving round the table to Vigoro. You said that citizen of the Silver Civilization you found was a woman. Now that's something worth getting excited over. How old is she? Is she good looking? Does she wear leather? I like my women wild and crazy. Okay, Vigoro is, yes, a bit of an odd chappy. Don't worry about him, I'm sure it's all fine. Unfortunately, moving across the table to, yes, Beliza. You're out of luck, Vigoro. The girl's the exact opposite. She's very shy and demure. Her name is Fina, and she's currently being escorted to see Empress Theodora in the Imperial Palace. And yes, indeed, a very good Admiral Beliza. I see that you're our espionage expert for good reason. So yes, indeed, finally, we've got Admiral DeLoco, who has purple hair and appears to be wearing a space helmet with a smiley face on it and... okay, just don't ask me to explain anything about DeLoco. DeLoco's just a delightfully weird goblin. Don't ask further questions. Of course, being the head of weapon development, I have a deeply vested interest in the technology of the Silver Civilization. So, right, DeLoco's interested in the new technology he might be able to put together out of this. Lovely. I will head back to the Imperial Palace and await Empress Theodora's orders to commence the search for the moon crystals. As for you, Alfonso, you lied in your report, and as punishment, you are now relieved of your position as commander of the Mid-Ocean Fleet. And for an indefinite period of time, you should be confined to Ixataka. You think I lied to my report, sire? What are you talking about? You were attacked by the air pirates, and you deserted your crew and your ship to save yourself. Your ship and your crew were released by the air pirates, and returned recently. They filed a full and accurate report. And oh dear, I think Alfonso was not counting on us, letting them all go. Our armada is invincible. Showing any signs of weakness is unforgivable. I trust that you will not forget that. This meeting is over. I want all of you to be ready to depart at a moment's notice. Everyone replies yes, and given what just happened to poor old Alfonso, I can't blame them. Though, yes, as for what Ixataka is, we'll be getting to that later. And here we flipping go. This here is the centre of the Valuan Empire. And according to Vise, it's very impressive. And it's beautiful, but the skies are so gloomy. Just indeed. Valua is a beautiful city, but because of the fierce thunderstorms caused by the yellow moon, the city is shrouded in eternal darkness. So right in front of us, that's the Imperial Palace. The area on the left is called Upper City. The people of Valua are either very rich or very poor, and they detest each other. Only the richest people in Valua can live in Upper City. The less fortunate are confined to Lower City, over on the right shore. So, yes indeed, the way that Valua is organised is the city's literally divided in two, where there's the rich half and the poor half, because Skies of Arcadia is many things. Subtle is not one of them. Still, on this occasion, it's going to work to our advantage, because, yes indeed, in Lower City, there's a dock that repairs and remodels ships, and presumably if we want to, avoid drawing attention, that's gonna be the best place to go. And yes indeed, straight away we've got ourselves some rather sad music, and in general, Lower City is not a nice place to be. And I'm returning to the docks. I'll be overseeing the installation of the harpoon cannon. So in that case, let's split up. Ica and Vise are going to check out the city, you get the cannon sorted out. When we're done, we'll meet back at the inn. So here we go, we are now located right here in Valua, and we can't leave even if we want to. So, yes indeed, you can see right over there the lovely lit up Upper City, and indeed the Imperial Palace, but yes, in this bit of the world, things are not so nice. Oh, and that does remind me, just a quick episode of Let's Talk all about the things that John got wrong, because I did say that my lovely pet Pow back on the island was a Pow, like that was his species. That is not correct, because this dog here is the same species, just like, a different breed or something because of his colour. If we speak to him, he is a stray Huskra. That's the name of the species, not Pow. Pow is just like, what they say. So this one appears to be astray. And not the friendliest stray either. I do enjoy, by the way, that all the NPCs in the city walk around really cocking slowly, like they're just, dragging their heels because living here is just such a nightmare. That's a really lovely touch. Still, we may as well have a bit of a poke around, and as we do, okay, we run straight into one of the local residents. Young boy, who are you? You guys look like sailors, and stupid ones at that. Why else would you come all this way to see a dump like Lower City? And well, are we a spot obnoxious? Kinda reminds me of a particular someone when they were smaller. And hey, I wasn't this annoying when I was young. Give me some credit here. And, oh dear, we've just upset the child. So, what did you say? You trying to start a fight with me? The name's Marco. Anyone who's anyone in this town knows who I am. And for such a short kid, you sure know how to talk big. Sorry boy, we don't have time to play with kids right now. What did you say? I'll remember this, you fools, and oh bloody hell, guys. What did we say last time about not creating more people who are swearing revenge on you? Okay, you've already got way too many people who have sworn revenge on you. Still in the bar, there may well be, yes, one potentially useful piece of information. Did you hear? Tomorrow morning, there's going to be an execution at the Coliseum. I've heard they're going to be executing some air pirates caught by the Armada. So yes, indeed, there was a soldier in here earlier telling everybody about it. It's been a while since we've had such an interesting show. So, yes indeed, there are going to be executions as entertainment in the arena, and while in general, when we think about, say, Roman arenas, people generally think of gladiator fights and fights between gladiators and animals and whatnot, executions were in fact a thing you could go and watch in the Roman Empire. In fact, if I'm remembering my history correctly, they were generally put on about lunchtime. Going to watch criminals being executed was deemed, a nice thing to do over lunch. The Roman Empire was a weird thing in some ways, yes. Okay, before we rush on to come up with a plan, given now we know where, yes, my friends are going to be held, well, number one, just a mosey around the back here in this back alley. Got to get round here in order to receive, some lovely healing items. And two, given, at some point things are probably going to go nasty and it might be a bit tricky for me to come back later, do be sure to check out the shops. So yes, those are up here just around the corner from where we came in. So yes, there's a much better boomerang for Ica, and though we don't use, her weapons that often, for only 500 gold, go on then, why not? You can have that, that's absolutely a-okay. And yes, we've also got Valuan armor, barely any better than what we've already got set. What's much more interesting, though, is, yes, the Lover's Ring. That's going to make Ica much better defended against magic, and more importantly, also increases her magical damage. That's absolutely fine, you could definitely have that, that's a really good fit for you. And go on then, I'll give, yes, the Valuan armor over to Vice, because keeping him alive is a rather good idea. Right, so that's all we can do here for now. So instead, yes, let's mosey along further around the city because, yes, this will lead us down to the next region, where we can run straight into a small child drawing on the ground in the middle of this awful slum. So, yes, indeed. They say that in the upper city, you can eat as much white bread as you want. I've never eaten white bread, only hard black bread. I hear people never chip their teeth on white bread. I'd like to try it sometime. Okay, so, just in case you hadn't got the message yet, Lower City is bad. And if I'm remembering right, yes, this building right here is the inn. So, when we're ready to reunite with Drachma and whatnot, we could go in that direction. But before we do that, there's just, one or two more things I want to grab from this bit of the world. Just mosey along here, nice and quick. One thing it is very easy to miss is, yes, you can just squeeze between these barrels here, getting you around the back of this lovely building, which gets you access to one free moonberry. Magnificent. So okay, just a mosey straight on out, and I think that's all we can actually grab, around here. Yes indeed, unless I've forgotten something or walked straight past it, there is nothing else dotted about in this bit of the world, so okay, let's mosey on back to the inn. I will say though, I'm not delighted by the conditions in the inn. Like, yeah, this doesn't appear to be a very nice place to sleep in various ways, but I guess we're lacking in options. This is gonna have to do. How much are you expecting me to pay for, like, you know, this one very grubby room? And it's 80 gold. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, Sailor's Island is only 60, and that is a way nicer room. I'm so tired I could barely stand. It's been a long time since I've laid down in a nice warm bed with pillows and blankets. Aika, we went to the hotel on Sailor's Island last cocking night, but okay, apparently she's forgotten about that. Anyway, Drachma rejoins us, and yes indeed, we now need to figure out a plan. Now first, oh dear, I think Aika is not very happy about, yes, the imminent execution. Understandable. So, yes indeed, in the Coliseum, they say that's where they execute air pirates, and it draws a huge crowd. Public execution sounds like something the people of this town would probably enjoy. So we've got to hurry up and rescue them. They'll all be killed. Vise, what are we going to do? And, okay. Let's try and save everyone right now. Let's try and sneak in. I don't know. Yes, indeed. Attempting to, you know, just charge in and murder everyone by stabbing them with a sword when you're trapped inside the Imperial Center of the Valuan Empire, probably a bad idea. Surely the best option has got to be sneaking in. Yes, indeed, I got the "you just made a sensible choice" noise. Beautiful. So tomorrow, we'll sneak into the Coliseum. Right now, they might be like, you know, in prison or whatnot, and only get taken to the Coliseum in the morning. The only time we know for certain they're going to be there is the actual day of the execution. So that's when we're going to rescue them. So, yes indeed, Aika, we're going to be patient and wait for the right moment to strike. But unfortunately, yes, the camera suddenly, rather concerningly, pulls outside the window. Tomorrow, we break into the Coliseum and rescue everybody. And who's there? Yet another noise, and yes indeed. He was spying on us, don't let him get away. Vise, need a lift, and yes indeed, Aika's now going to... Wow, that was downright impressive, Aika. And now we start chasing this kid by basically just going towards the arrows in order to pursue him. This section happens precisely once in the entire game. This will never happen again. There will never be a section where you do, like, platforming by going up to golden arrows. It's just a delightfully weird section, but fine, I suppose. And down we go, and we've caught up with young Marco, who for some reason was spying on us. But not any longer, because yes, we've managed to catch up. Put me down, you glass-eyed freak. And yes indeed, you're that kid from this afternoon. I do enjoy how he just, you know, flails about. So what's it to you? Put me down right now. And Vise is going to, yes, take him very literally. You didn't have to drop me. And Vise, did you catch him? And yes indeed, we got him, and it's that annoying kid again. Don't call him annoying. He appears to, like, you know, take it very personally. And who are you calling annoying? At least I don't have hair like a scarecrow. Heard everything you said. If I was to rat on you to the guards, you'd all be executed. And Drachma, unfortunately, has strong opinions on that, which is, that leaves us no choice. We're going to have to kill you now, boy. Aika thinks that might be, you know, slightly overkill, but curiously, Marco doesn't seem too fussed. If you're going to kill me, then kill me. I don't think even the rats would miss me. I've pretty much given up on life in this dump. If I'm dead, at least I won't have to search the bins every night for food. Drachma delightfully is in no way moved by this sad tale of his terrible life, and instead is just, you know, very happy to murder him because the kid's got no regrets. But, Captain, he's just a kid. Cool it. Let's not, you know, do that much murder, not immediately anyway. And Marco, that hole in the ground next to you, what is it? And this is catacombs under the city. I heard they've been around since the old world. Now they're just sewers. This is where I live. So okay, sewers. And could you use them to get to the Coliseum? And yeah, it does indeed reach the Coliseum, but... hang on a minute, you're serious? So yes, indeed, if we take the catacombs to the Coliseum, we can sneak in without worrying about any of the guards. And Marco finds the idea cocking hilarious, and... okay, small side thing. Why is Marco wearing so many gigantic buttons? Those are brilliant. So what are you, stupid or something? You're gonna get caught? There's no way. Why don't you just give up and go home? And I can't do that. Blue rogues never give up, especially when their friends are counting on them. If you ever went sailing and ran into a storm, with the way you're talking, you'd probably just give up. It's too rough, I shouldn't have gotten on the ship. I want my mommy. That's what you'd probably say. And oh dear, Marco's not thrilled about that. Even if you run into a storm, there's always a way out, no matter how bleak things seem. And okay, Marco's maybe starting to get a tiny bit interested in what Vice is going on about. So, right, Captain, Ica, tomorrow we're taking the catacombs to the Coliseum. Since we don't have to get there until tomorrow, we should rest tonight. And by the sounds of it, we're just going to, leave Marco here. Jess, aren't you supposed to kill me now? And instead, you're going to be at the Coliseum with us tomorrow too. You said that you've grown tired of living. Well, I just want you to see something interesting before you die. Jess, indeed. Marco does not think Vice can possibly be serious right now. Instead, we're just going to walk away and leave Marco to it, trusting he's going to do the right thing. And, okay, let's just say Marco's got a bit of a journey to go on yet. And in the meantime, yes, we're going to go back to the inn, grab a quick bit of rest, and then it's flipping go time. Okay, following a morning, straight back down to where we just chased Marco. Beautiful. And now, yes, it's time to enact the plan. Down to the catacombs in order to rescue Captain Dads. The catacombs basically being a very, very long sewer indeed. This is kind of like, the final very big dungeon before we reach the end of what I consider to be the prologue of Skies of Arcadia. So this is kind of like, the final exam to make sure you understand the cocky basics here. Magic, healing, having enough items with you, etc, etc. Naturally, this being, a big poisonous sewer that's color-coded green, you're gonna find a fair few green enemies, and I will say, this particular battle map, which is, pretty narrow, is gonna work in Ica's favor, because enemies are going to be way more likely to be squeezed into a really nice cocking line. I love it. Though that does remind me, yes, Visor's got one more new toy up his sleeve as well we've not discussed. So, Counter-Strike, which is basically like, guard on steroids. Because, sure, Visor could just guard and then it'll take reduced damage. Counter-Strike is basically the same thing, but on top of that, if anyone attacks him, he will strike back. And honestly, the biggest strength of it is it literally only costs 1. So, you can do this without really eating hugely into your special meter. For today, though, right, Vice, you focus over there. Ica, I want you to be, yes, putting all 4 of those points into a lovely, sexy Alpha Storm over here. And Drachma, you just take out the other Drownlog, because I honestly can't remember what all of the abilities of these guys are. They may have some magic that I'm not expecting, but okay. By the looks of it, those bats are pretty fast. Ica doesn't get to go first, she comes second, but if we're lucky, she's going to hit maybe not quite the entire field, unfortunately. She took out, a handful of them. I've no idea how you missed that one that Drachma's sparring with right now, but yeah, the blobs would appear to be so slow, even Drachma gets the first attack in, though his accuracy is not great. So we've got one attack coming in there, and I'm guessing they might be able to poison me. You know what? Vice, you do a Counter-Strike just so we get to see that. Everyone else just move in and attack. And Counter-Strike also always gets to go first. Like, it's just a priority move, so Vice is now defending. And on top of that, you may notice Vice is backing away. Some people were mentioning this in the comments, like, if there are moves that are dependent on positioning, how do you move your characters? You can't do it directly, but there are ways of influencing it. Like, if your character is guarding, they'll generally back away. If your character's attacking, they'll generally move towards their target. So you can move people around like that. Anyway, we just need to keep on keeping on, look for any treasure, etc, etc, but basically, we're just trying to survive. This here is just an endurance event. We just need to keep going until we reach the end, keeping an eye out for treasure chests, etc, etc. And yeah, if we get lucky, we'll just run into a handful of very small things that won't represent too much of a problem, but on occasion in certain dungeons, you can sometimes run into much nastier creatures. And sometimes some that are just a bit on the horrifying side, like yes, this creature here is a Mind Stealer. And it would appear to be a bug that's just sort of hijacked a lower city resident. Which is, just downright horrifying, but whatever. Still, I'll tell you what on this occasion, Weatherly is actually probably a much better pick right here. So how about we just point you in that direction. So, Ica, you are up and moons are giving you strength indeed. And on this occasion, oh yeah, that'll flippin' do the job very nicely. Just 2 spirit points and yeah, that does a lot of very solid damage. So if you can come across enemies that are properly clustered together, blue magic, very useful. Though right now, of course, we're taking on various monsters in the sewers, not Valuan troops, so blue does not have the advantage. And hello, sexy, we've got something new round the corner. So, right, Krill Hounds. On this occasion, they're not nicely, lined up for an Alpha Storm. So, what I'm going to say is instead, Ica, this is probably a good time for a Piri. Just drop one of them, that's absolutely fine. And everyone else just spread out your regular attacks, and they are fast by the looks of it. Not that strong, but... okay, if 2 of them both got attacks in before Ica, right, Krillhounds must be really cocking fast. I do enjoy how Ica's skirt goes bananas whenever she, does her magic. So, right, 2 dead, you, buddy, must be guarding. So go over here, finish you off, lovely. And I think this might just be enough to, right. Vise goes up to level 9, Ica is still a tiny bit short, lovely. And here we go, one more fight should just about push Ica up to level 9 too, so okay. That's all looking good, we're moving in the right direction. And I'm pretty sure, yes, we just moved into a side room. Piri box, okay. Now that is a very, very exciting, sexy item. A Piri box is basically an item that you can use to cast the spell that's inside it, and it can be used quite a few times before it's used up. So, basically, if I wanted Ica to use Piri, but I didn't want to commit to, either the special or the magic point, she could just use this. Which is really cocky bloody useful. Like, if you could get some good spells in a box, blimey, that is powerful. Oh, and hello, sexy. Just, moseying around, checking out the side rooms and whatnot. Can't help but notice we've just picked up, yes, an assassin's blade and some heavy armor. You know what? Yes, a blade used by fishermen for cleaning fish. No. An assassin's cocky blade. That's the option for me. And not only because its stats better, but on top of that, yes, certain weapons have got bonus effects attached to them, so on this occasion, it might poison the enemy. And I tell you what, that heavy armor's pretty nice too. Meaning, we can now pass the Valuan armor straight on to Drachma. He does not need the best armor that we've got though. He's got enough defense built in. Oh, you know what? I'd forgotten the absolute coolest bit of this dungeon, which is... don't forget, of course, whenever you're, underground, in this game, that means, you're in tunnels at the bottom of a floating island. So, on this occasion, we are so close by to the bottom of Valua, when there are holes in the floor, you can literally see the sky and thunderstorms raging below you. Now that's pretty badass, just having the sky beneath you when you're already underground in a dungeon. That's lovely. And bloody hell, I just finished off some basic little goblins and... I just got Moonberry times 2. So, my understanding of how this game worked was always when you did a fight, there was a 1% chance of a Moonberry drop, but maybe it's 1% per creature. So, okay, to get 2 Moonberries from a single random fight. Okay, this run is cocky blessed right here. That is ridiculous. But yes, we'll get to that later because, I can't help but notice. The game just popped a save point down, and that means, yes indeed. I've got a bad feeling about, the top of those stairs. Yes indeed. You may notice there's, a fairly large amount of skulls and whatnot. So, yeah. That there ladder. That's the ladder we need to get up into the Coliseum. But, yeah, I feel like possibly we're supposed to understand this is the creature that eats the corpses of people who fall in the arena. Which is odd, because we were told earlier they get tossed over the side of the island, but okay, maybe some get fed to the giant blob monster, others get tossed off the side of the island. It's hard to cooking say. Anyway, on we go, buddy, because me and you, we need to have cooking words, and okay. I feel like this is all gonna be fine, okay? Everything's alright. I do enjoy how he's got, like, you know, just skulls floating around inside him. That's delightful. He's just got, you know, skulls doing a bit of a jig. So, yes, this here is Blagock, the boss at the end of the catacombs, and as you can see, the guy is color-coded green, meaning, yeah, we want to keep all our weapons on red, because when you're dealing with green, it's red or yellow, and we don't have yellow yet, so okay. Right now, we've got, 4 points. Probably the best thing we could do, really, is, work up towards Drachma being able to do his major attack, because that's got to be the right way to go. Still, I wouldn't mind seeing how strong, Visor's basic attack is. And as for Ica, even though it's only, like, you know, one person, I'm going to tell her to use the Piri box, because as we saw with Antonio, basic Piris can be pretty bloody good. So, okay. Everyone just open up, see what we can do here. Drachma goes first, which is wild, and, okay. It's not terrible, 250 damage, but that's Drachma. That's as good as it gets. 200 from Ica there, not bad either. Vice comes in, but bear in mind, when you're doing normal attacks, there's always a risk of counterattacks. And here comes a Frost Breath, so okay. That's going to hit. Is that everyone, or is that just a range of... that may be everyone. Not the biggest hit, though. We're okay for the time being. So, yeah, we could jump in with a Cutlass Fury, but honestly, Drachma is so far ahead of everybody right now, it's better we don't do that. So, what I'm going to do instead is, Vise, you're going to do a normal attack, and Ica, you're going to drop an Increm, which basically is just a buffing spell, because, every magic school doesn't just do damage, it's also got a status effect associated with it. In the case of fire, it's basically buffing you, so I'm going to use that to buff Drachma. And in fact, thinking about it, if that's going to take us down to 4, then what I'm actually going to do is, Vise, you're going to focus. Ica's going to do that thing we were just discussing, which is going to be lovely. And Drachma, you can do a normal attack. So here we go, moons give me strength, and now Drachma is going to be even more ridiculously strong. There we go, that's going to help a lot, so when he comes, up to 330. That is a lot more damage than he did with his first attack. Like, Increm is no joke. And here comes Poisonous Bile, or would you believe it's probably going to poison everyone. So... okay, that hurt a lot more. But, like, not so much Drachma, because Drachma just refuses to cocky die. So, okay. Right now, Vise and Ica are maybe looking a tiny bit on the dodgy side. I'm going to do a normal attack here. Ica is, the weakest, and her defenses are weaker too. Maybe just drop one crystal on her herself for safety. Vise can probably take another hit. A jab. Time for a powered-up tackle. So, okay, Crystal comes in at first. That's absolutely fine. So, Ica should now be safe. And Vise could definitely take one more hit. Unless he gets counterattacked. He did not. That's fine. And here comes the tackle. And seriously, this is gonna hurt. So, there we go. Giant punch in the face for you, buddy. Is it going to be 1,000? Just over 1,000. I love it. And Blagock goes for Ica. I thought she was going to get the counterattack. She did not. So, okay. We're doing pretty well against you. I think this is actually a pretty damn solid start. So in which case, Vise, you just keep laying down the fire. Ica, you could probably, heal up Vise. And at this point, Drachma, you just go for this guy. Though I'm going to be honest, actually, given Vise is the only person who could get 2 spirit out of a focus, just do that for now. Like, basically just enable flipping Drachma to keep doing his job, because Drachma is the flipping beast of beasts right now. So, okay, Ica comes in with more healing. So, okay, team should now be okay, even if another big bile comes out. And, speaking of which, there it is. Honestly, I'm surprised it didn't, like, poison anybody. Like, you'd think the spell Poisonous Bile maybe would poison people, but... see if I spoke too soon. There we go, I spoke too soon. So, right, Vise is now poisoned, and the music goes over to a happy mode. Vise is taking 100 damage a turn. That's... I mean, it's something, but it's not terrible. Honestly, I'm happy to just basically, keep him focusing. That's fine. I don't think we need to be wasting healing items on Vise right now, because status conditions do not survive the end of the fight. So, yeah. For the time being, what do we need you to do, Icar? Probably best you heal yourself up as you're the weakest on the field. And we're ready for another tackle. So yes, Icar does the healing. She should be okay. I know Visor is taking damage, but he's also wearing the best armor on the field. So just to keep on focusing, just to keep this happening. Another tackle comes in, that's absolutely fine. On this occasion, just under 1,000. Dear flippin' dear. Frost Breath comes down. That may be able to do a status effect too. I mean, logically it might be able to. Vise is going to be taking more damage there. He can probably take another hit without it being too much of a problem. I'm going to say, I could just drop a heal on Vise just for safety. And basically at this point, it's all down to flipping Drachma, because look at that. The counterattack does like under 100 damage. It is just ridiculous how strong Drachma is in the early game. Like, in the early game, just empower Drachma, he can carry you. So, here we go, more attacks coming in. A counterattack off Drachma, I cockin' love it, and that should be more than enough to finish this off right now. So, everybody else just basically go into guard mode. Drachma, this one's on you. And in he goes into his stupid anime tunnel. Just a big glowy hand, etc, etc. Giant punch. And Blagok should definitely be going down. Alright, not too bad. Pretty smooth, all things considered. I think we stayed on top of that pretty nicely. And that's probably, blimey, enough to get Weisniker straight up to level 10, which is just flipping magnificent, together with a giant pile of red experience, money, and our first seed item, I believe. Seeds are basically a way of, permanently increasing stats. So, on this occasion, max hit points goes up by 30, and that just lasts forever. So, I'm going to keep hold of that just for the time being, but yes, when the time is right, we'll consider where to spend our seeds. Still, with Blagok dead, that opens the way forward, and yes indeed, this ladder here is going to take us right into the Coliseum, meaning our plan is basically to jump out during the middle of the execution with all of Valua watching us, at which point, basically, all the hell is going to break loose. But I would say, how about we wrap up on a cliffhanger and leave that for next time. So, yes indeed, coming up in the next episode, we are basically going to announce ourselves to the whole of King Valua, try and save Captain Dad, and on top of that, of course, we still need to figure out where the Cockfina is, because, yes, we still have no idea precisely where she's located. So hopefully you join me next time for that. But in the meantime, I've been John, this has been Many a True Nerd, and this has been Skies of Arcadia. Thank you very much, and goodbye. If we just hide the bodies, nobody needs to know about this. Yes! My stupid plan has worked! It turns out I'm a genius! The giant rad scorpion is not gone! Oh, hang on, there's more yet though, I'm still being very shocked. Guys, where's the NCR? Nobody needs to know.